Son, where'd you find this?
Don't be offended by the truth. They be offended because you called out the truth. Simple as that. They don't want to hear any other narrative that makes them look bad. One thing I can't stand at this big grown age is somebody who acts like cause and effect does not exist. Like, yes, your actions caused this outcome. Yes, what you did lit the match. Like, why are you surprised and playing victim?
Guys, Chico, they never lie.
That's how you know somebody doesn't respect you. They listen to reply, not to be understood. They cut you off. They minimize what actually matters to you. They laugh at your boundaries, and then they call you sensitive when you try to hold the line. They show up late, they cancel last minute, forget the things you've told them, because in their world, your time, your energy, even your voice aren't a priority. They're just an option. You see, there are two kinds of people. Those who adjust when they realize they've actually hurt you, and those who expect you to adjust so they don't have to change. You don't need to be disrespected loudly to be disrespected deeply. Sometimes you'll see it. It's just in their tone, in their patterns, in the silence after you're known. Respect isn't what they say when they're watching. It's how they act when they think you'll.
Examining his own attitude towards the possibilities of peace, towards the Soviet Union, towards the course of the Cold War.
Art muscle. It was a way of making me feel that they were a part of me.
But you see it on the bridge. I think if the government had to change the screw in the bridge, they have to shut it down. They got state troopers out there. They got lanes closed. They got those strange machines. How did they get up?
Yo, 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 yo. What up, what up, what up? Happy hump day, good people. Peace and blessings. I hope all is well with each and every single one of you. Shout out to my poorest content creators. You know the list is long. The flowers are going to get handed out. Salutes to everybody in the building. 2672. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. I don't know what time it is where you are, but I hope all is well. Appreciate you for being in attendance. I hope your stay is pleasant. I hope this conversation nourishes you in the way that is necessary. I don't know what time zone you're in. That's why I said morning, afternoon, all that. Sydney, I see you in the building. I'm gonna bring you up in a second. Y'all see the title. Wanted to present this to y'all, get y'all thoughts on it. Maybe we might see the same thing here, maybe we don't, but that's the whole point of having an open discussion. So I will be joining y'all on this particular show. Let's get Sid on the big screen. Good afternoon. Good evening.
Hello. How are you doing?
We got some rain. I'm enjoying it.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's been cloudy today here for whatever reason. No rain, but looks like it wants to.
Yeah, the weather is being weather right now. It was cold yesterday and it's warm today. So that storm that's out there right now, perfect for this particular evening. So I'm cool. So let me bring this up on a big screen. I'm scrolling Instagram. I saw this and a lot of things went through my mind. I want to know what y'all think about it. apparently, well, I'll let them speak for themselves, and then we'll just go into it.
See the situation in real time. Callers can also send in photos. Tampa Police Chief Lee Burkhoff says that information can even be shared to responding officers. They will also have access to voice-activated policy guidance with official citations, along with access to more than 50 language translations.
A gente estava brigando e meu namorado pegou meu carro e foi embora.
Using their body-worn cameras.
Identified Portuguese that we were fighting, and my boyfriend took my car and left.
Now, a dispatcher can text the caller a message asking them for permission to use their cell phone camera to see the situation in real time. Callers can also send in photos. Tampa Police Chief Lee Burkhoff says that information can even be shared to responding officers. They will also have access to voice-activated policy guidance with official citations, along with access to more than 50 language translations.
A gente estava brigando e meu namorado pegou meu carro e foi embora.
Using their body-worn cameras.
Identified Portuguese that we were fighting, and my boyfriend took my car and left.
Now, a dispatcher can text the caller a message asking them for permission to use their cell phone camera to see the situation in real time. Callers can also send in photos. Tampa Police Chief Lee
That was the whole clip. It was just running it back.
Burkhoff says that information.
Oh, sorry about that. So I did a reaction video recently on a woman. This would be my second one, where she's going to court because she basically didn't take her job serious. She was a dispatcher. She hung up on
yes.
She hung up on 1,000 people, and then I ended up coming across this right here, and then it's like, all right, how do I feel about it? Well, first, how do you feel about it? Because for one, to anybody, and I said this before, anybody who's going to take that type of job, you can't afford to tell somebody, oh, I don't feel like it, or I'm just going to hang up on you and let you figure it out. These are life or death situations. These aren't just telemarketer calls that you can screen and then decide if you want to pick up and answer for. No, these are people that's called possible serious injuries. Someone might have swallowed a toy or something like that. You can't just tell somebody, I don't feel like it. And I did 2 different stories on it, came across this, and I'm thinking, all right, well, this might not be a bad thing, but I wanted to get your thoughts on it. Even with the whole dispatcher situation.
Mm-hmm. First of all, I did actually hear about that. I just watched a documentary, or one of those little like rundowns of her crimes and everything like that, of that woman. And yeah, she hung up on, the reason it came to light is because a baby died because she hung up on the mother like 3 times in a row. But before I go on a tangent about her, because I definitely could, this technology, one, my first reaction is thinking of all the ways that it could be used and all the ways that it could be beneficial. But it does also bring up a secondary concern of privacy. But I think overall, it would probably be overwhelmingly beneficial, because they, in the video, they talk about it in the frame of like using it for crime. If you are at a crime scene, if somebody's doing something to you, you can have it on video, have the police see the crime scene before they even arrive, because, you know, the fresher the crime scene, the more information they can get and the more accurate the information is going to be. You could potentially even get a video of the car fleeing or the person fleeing or whatever. I think for medical emergencies too, that would be very useful because oftentimes in the time period between the person being discovered and the paramedics showing up, a citizen has to be the one to do intermediary efforts to revive the person, help the person, save them, do whatever to save their life. And having a video available would be very, very beneficial, especially if the law enforcement, because then the paramedics would know exactly what they're about to get into. They'd know exactly how to prepare, what tools to bring. Because I'm fairly certain they have to stock the ambulance or like make sure they bring specific tools for certain situations. And the law enforcement agents would be able to identify specialty needs before they even arrive. That way they don't have to wait longer for things to show up. For example, in car accidents, not all law enforcement paramedics will have the jaws of life. And so sometimes, which are machines that help rip open cars in the case of somebody being stuck inside the vehicle. But if they were to have that technology, they'd be able to see the car crash and know like, oh, we need to get this on route now. And they don't have to wait for the paramedics to show up and police officers to show up and then request it. So I think it would definitely have a lot of practical, beneficial applications that could potentially save more lives. And it would also be great in situations, criminal situations, where the person is not able to be verbal. For example, if they're being abused, if they're in a situation where they have to stay silent, then they'd be able to have on the video and show what's going on without actually having to say anything. Because I know that's an issue with paramedic or dispatchers is sometimes, I've heard this before, where sometimes they'll get phone calls and the line will just be quiet and it's only the person like whispering or saying very sparse words to get across what's happening. And I've heard 911 calls before where the person has to pretend that they're not talking to 911, that they're talking to somebody else, and the paramedic or the dispatcher has to figure out that it's not a wrong number. She's actually calling for help, but she just can't say it outright. So there's a lot of situations where I can definitely see this being helpful.
I'm not against it. I'm still teetering on your privacy part, but I'm not really opposed to it. I'm more concerned about how utilized it's going to be. If anyone is really going to take the opportunity to be a upstanding citizen or not, because we live by this not my business culture. If I see it, I just walk past and keep moving. Like, oh, somebody ain't just getting beat on right in front of your face. Oh, nah, well, it ain't my business. You know, we are recorded and then posted on TikTok for clicks, views, and likes. But in terms of bringing someone to accountability, oh, you're going to get demonized for it. Oh, you're a snitch. Oh, I can't trust you. I can't have you around me because you'll tell on me. Well, if you wasn't doing things that you weren't supposed to be doing, then I wouldn't have to. I don't know how deep it go. Like, will I be able to pick and choose when I can? Is it going to just stay monitoring even when I'm not utilizing the app, is it still going to be scanning my device and all that? That's another issue I got with it. But I'm still for it though. I really am. We need it. It's not like they don't put cameras on every light fixture on the street, and something happens. Oh, those cameras ain't worked in 20 years. Why aren't they? Why have they been down that long? Y'all spend millions and millions of dollars on everything else. You can't even upgrade your security system. So I don't mind it. I like the idea of it. In fact, homeowners should already be hip to having security systems and cameras, ring cameras, et cetera, on your property. So I'm not really mad at that, especially considering how officers move, how criminals move. I think it's teetering. But it depends on how you look at it. If you're a regular citizen and you're just getting sick and tired of people trashing the city and all that, you don't mind it. If you're a criminal and you somebody who honors this horrible mindset and this culture, you're gonna hate it. You're gonna despise it.
One thing that I kind of mentioned it at the beginning that I would have an issue with, it, like you said, would be the privacy. One thing I know with, I think it's the Ring cameras. It's either Ring cameras or the other one. The company that manages the video data was recently bought by either Palantir itself or the company that that owns or that works with Palantir. Like, it's an umbrella underneath Palantir. And if you're not familiar with Palantir, it's basically a weapons development and supply company that is extremely wealthy and works for our government. And they've basically been trying to use Ring camera videos to track anti-patriotic people and immigrants. And so I can see how there might be issues with accessing people's homes and stuff. I think the one thing that might help is that it seems like, just from the way they described it, you have to give permissions to access that technology. But again, like, I'm not super techie. I'm sure there's probably ways around that. Another thing I kind of thought of is the a situation where somebody would use it to try and get somebody in trouble, even though they didn't do anything. And then also another issue I wondered about is if, like, you know, we're not all tech people. What if there's issues getting it to work? Like, if you're in a situation where somebody's dying or your house is being robbed or you're being attacked, and then you're trying to figure out your phone, how to get it to allow access and permissions and all sorts of stuff. Like, people even struggle to figure out Bluetooth and like getting on their Wi-Fi or something like that. I can't even imagine, like, to continue, like, please request a code from your email and put that in. And like, I don't have time for that. My house is on fire. Like, what? So I do wonder about the usability, how easy it is for somebody to kind of navigate it and access it. Hopefully there aren't any issues where it like accidentally hangs up on you because your Wi-Fi or service isn't good enough, or and then also, like, is that going to work in areas where there is no service? Like if you're up in the mountains, if you're out in the wilderness or something like that, or is that even going to be usable? So definitely have questions in terms of how it would work. But again, with the capabilities that it has, I can see that still being a good thing. Also, in situations of like mass fatality events, that could also be potentially useful in like being able to get a clear picture of what's going on. Because I know in the documentaries I've watched on different disasters, building collapses, shootings, stuff like that, one of the issues that responders have is they're getting a flood of calls, hundreds of people calling, asking about loved ones, asking, being there and reporting what's happening, or witnesses that think they see something. That can probably help with people, like helping them figure out what's actually going on. Like, where's this localized? What's actually happening? They're not relying on the details of people that are probably confused and scared and possibly repeating things that aren't correct just because that's what happens when you're stressed out. So I can also see it being useful in situations like that. But yeah, I do think that it's, again, it's how we should be using technology. Like, of all the uses of technology, this is definitely one of them that is more beneficial, I think, than detrimental to us. But I think it does need to be handled carefully. That way, stuff doesn't get leaked. People's privacy isn't invaded. It shouldn't be continuous access, like continuing to have access after the phone call has ended, and making sure that this kind of stuff is used appropriately. Because we all know there's still people that misuse 911, prank calls, and whatnot. So hopefully we're not going to have people that are being stupid with it. But yeah, other than that, I still think it's a really good idea. I'm glad they're coming up with something like this to improve the outcomes of 911 calls.
You're always going to be stupid with it. You ask for too much. You ask for way too much. They're going to find a way to troll. The funny part about it is I don't know if you're going to get very far with that if they can pretty much locate where the signal is coming from. If you're trying to play what's that we used to do when we would randomly call somebody's house and then hang up on them, you ain't gonna be able to do that. Something that I'm wondering about is what happens if you can't get to your phone. Let's say it's just in your pocket. I mean, I know we stare at a phone 24 hours damn near, but I don't keep my phone in my hand for an entire work shift or nothing like that. It does sit in my pocket. So let's say something's going on in the moment. I didn't have time to just, I'm being attacked. Let me pull my phone out and hit the button. I think it has it's good and it's bad. I'm not really sure yet how I feel overall because I haven't seen it in action. So it's like we're kind of looking at a hypothetical what if. It sounds good. It sounds like they're doing something actually useful. We'll see. I have my reservations. I'm hopeful for it. Uh, it's just the fact that it's the privacy part for me.
I will just cut in while the feed is coming back. I'm assuming it's not just my end. Um, yeah, the privacy issue is going to be a huge deal to work on because there's always instances of hacking, people misusing it from either end. I imagine it would probably be a little bit harder misusing it from the caller end because of the from what it seems like you have to initiate the 911 call first to give access to the video feed. But I mean, just like we said at the beginning of the stream, there was a woman. I mean, there's been lots of cases like this. There was a woman that was really terrible at her job and was not using 911 effectively. And I could see 911 operators also misusing these privileges. I was going to post it in the chat, but I figured I'd just say it. I bet you if they institute something like this, there's going to be a 911 operator using it to video call their spouse and do things at work. I can already see there's always going to be people like that. So, yeah, I'll let you take over.
I had to jump off for a second. My bad. Yeah, dispatchers don't get the type of respect that they should or the type of notoriety or acknowledgement that they should because I didn't really understand how much time they put in sitting at them desks for hours and hours, and sometimes they don't have normal schedules like most people. They don't, and so for you to be sitting there listening to people screaming and crying, and some of them folks might be in mid arguments, you really don't know the type of trauma that they probably build up over time dealing with people. And that's why I opened up and said, my hats go off to you. I know it ain't easy. You got to talk people down off a cliff. You probably dealing with suicidal people. You probably dealing with folks that just shot somebody, and maybe you trying to resuscitate somebody. That can't be easy. And then like you gotta have tough skin. It's to me, it's no different than working at a morgue, being a mortuary or something, or doing the grime scenes when you cleaning up in those situations where folks done died and all that. It ain't no different to me. So when a person takes this job, to me, I'm going to assume that you have a love and a respect that goes above and beyond a regular 9 to 5ers, because you have to have a level of compassion and empathy to be a dispatcher. I think most jobs you have to have a certain love for it. And if you don't, and you just taking the paycheck, that's kind of corny. So this clip right here correlates with the other one for me because she's not the first person that I've seen say, oh, I don't got time for this. Well, why did you take the job? Like, what was the point? And then my whole thing with that was, why did it take them so long to recognize that she was doing what she did? Don't you record everything? What they say on those them long telemarketer, you trying to get your bill paid, them calls, and they be like, your call is important to us. Please stand by while we get you through to the next available such and such. And you be sitting there for 20, 30, 40 minutes. Then they say everything is recorded for your safety and whatever. How did y'all not know that this woman? How did y'all not know that she had did this that many times and nothing was done about it? So I see her story and the other one. I see this and I'm like, well, we might just be better off with the app. Not to discredit everybody else who's actually doing their job, but it's like, are you really screening these folks that you hiring over there? At least with this, and I pick this phone up and I know at least I might have a better chance at getting proper service. But damn, if my Wi-Fi cut off on me or my service is not strong under Metro, being in a train system, everybody don't got great coverage. You underground in the tunnel, and something happened on the train or whatever. Like, there's pros and cons to it. A lot of them. I just wish people weren't so reckless. You literally handing your jobs over to AI. That's what it feel like. You don't want to do the job properly. We're going to find ways to get it done more effectively, more efficiently, without people complaining about their work hours and having vacation and this, that, and the third. Now, this is open to you 24 hours a day. And guess what? I ain't got to pay the app.
That 911 dispatcher, I forget the exact details because it's been like a week since I watched the video. But they're saying that in her previous jobs, at least 3 jobs, she lasted less than a month. One job she quit, like she walked off, I think, on the first day because she didn't like that people were telling her what to do. She had another job where she got in a fight with the manager and walked off that job. There's another one. I think she lasted like 6 months, maybe, or I don't even think it was that long, like 3 months at a restaurant, and she left because she didn't like dealing with the customers. I'm like, why did you pick a job where people are literally relying on you? Like, at least with sandwiches, if you get in a fight with the cashier, you just don't get your sandwich or something like that. Like, if you're on a had been killed. And there was another one where they were having a medical emergency, like a heart attack or something, and she hung up on them because they were taking too long to explain themselves. Some of the reasons that she gave to hang up on these people was, oh, I didn't feel like talking. I was in a bad mood. I didn't feel like it. They were taking too long. I didn't like what they were saying. Why would you take a job where all you do is talk? Like, that's literally your job, is to talk people through difficult situations. And if you do not have the empathy or the willingness to sit there and deal with people, why did you bother taking that job? That is the stupidest thing. And like, I never understand why. I mean, I can understand it to a degree. If you need a job, you need a job. But if you need a job, make it work. Like, find ways to work around the things that bother you. But if you have the ability, find a job that actually matches what you enjoy, what you like to do. Especially when, I guess you didn't care about the consequences, but when your literal work affects other people's lives for the rest of their lives. And I think also the videos might help in situations of an incompetent dispatcher, because then they'll at least have those videos to send to the police officers if the dispatcher is not able to properly explain what's happening. Also, I don't know if they said the paramedic, or I keep saying paramedic, the dispatcher would also have access to the video, or if it was just going to be sent to law enforcement. But if they had access to the videos themselves, they would be able to better understand how to help the person. Because if, for those of you that are unfamiliar with like what they have to do in the job, paramedics, oh my God, I keep saying paramedics, dispatchers have to walk people through all sorts of situations. They have to tell them what to do if they're being assaulted. They have to tell them what to do if the person near them is having a heart attack, if the person's bleeding out, if there's a gunshot wound, if their kid's choking. Like, they have to walk people through these procedures, like how to do CPR over the phone, how to do over the phone, how to call 911. The first thing you need to tell them is your address. Before anything else, tell them the address, tell them what's happening, and then you can give additional details, because a lot of people won't give the address, and the dispatcher cannot help unless they know the location to send the police officers or the actual paramedics. So when you do a 911 call, make sure the first thing you do is tell them where you are located. That way they can send those people as soon as possible, and then you give those details as you're waiting. But there, with the video, there's more of a possibility for them to identify the location, particularly if it's outdoors. You can use like landmarks and stuff. That way, if the person is unable to give a location, they'll at least be able to maybe see where they are. Might not help you in a house, but elsewhere, it might be able to help that situation. But I would hope that if the paramedics, oh my God, the dispatchers have access to those videos, it would allow them to be more successful. And honestly, this is just speculation. I wonder if it would help with the mental health challenges that can come with being a dispatcher, because they're, like, we all know, people, police officers, paramedics, rescuers, they all get PTSD because, or not, they don't all get PTSD, but they can get PTSD from the type of work that they do, because they're going to see people dying, they're seeing people bleeding out, they're seeing people missing limbs and getting shot like all sorts of horrific things that nobody ever wants to witness. The dispatchers have a unique situation because they don't see these things happening, but they also aren't a unique sense of helplessness because they're basically over the phone pleading with you to do the things that you need to do or trying to figure out a way to help you to allow it to be a good outcome. But they're going to be listening to parents frantically trying to resuscitate their children, or a spouse watching their partner die, or people getting shot and killed or abused or whatever over the phone, and they can't do anything about it besides just get help. And it gives a sense of a unique sense of helpless PTSD because they are not able to actually step in and do something. At least paramedics, police officers, stuff like that, they have the satisfaction of, like, if they save the person or they're there to rescue them and they can hold the child and they can do stuff physically there with the kid or with the person, which will kind of assuage some of that PTSD anxiety feelings. But if you're a dispatcher, you don't really get that. Oftentimes you don't even know the results of the whole situation unless somebody tells you or you see it on the news or whatever. So I feel like that might help them, give them more of a sense of autonomy and like they're able to do more, I would suspect. Again, that's just kind of my guess, just from what I know from psychology. But it could potentially help with their mental health to have more of that access and not feel as helpless during those really stressful phone calls.
That woman has a problem. It's not the job, it's her. Now I know people like her. You blame everybody else for why you can't stay somewhere long. You're just not much of a people person. Anytime you are sitting up here arguing with people and you constantly have an issue with authority, can't nobody tell you. No, you just are like that. You were like that before the job. You're gonna be like that afterwards. And you bounce from place to place, and you seem like you be okay for a little bit until it get to a point to where you got to be challenged or held responsible, and you don't like it, so you up and leave. 42 seconds on an average call is crazy. Yeah, you didn't want to really be there. You thought it was going to be an easy check, and you went, did what you had to do. But the unfortunate part about it is somebody lost their life in the process. I do want to acknowledge one thing that you said, the mental portion of it. How is it going to affect people now? Does it alleviate their stress? Does it make things a little lighter on these folks that's doing this job? Perhaps. But just like the automatic shopping cart and the automatic cash register scanners, is it going to eventually replace the presence of a physical person? Is it going to get to that point? That's what I'm wondering. Because they trying their best to do it. They've been working on it. So they have a lot of different areas in the region where they have machines doing a larger share of work. So, I mean, it's not really off the table. If it does help you not burn out so much from all them calls, I'm with it, but at the expense of losing your income, I guess that's for debate. And then on top of that, do you really want a machine handling your all your stress and your issues in an emergency, or do you still want that human interaction, or do we just dismiss that completely? Because while it has its benefits, you can push a button and bam, police, they got your location, they can find you quicker, the ambulance can find you quicker. But what if you frantic, you need to be calmed down, or whatever the state of mind you in, and you just pushing a button. I don't know. I'm just thinking about, do we really want to take humans out of everything?
I personally would rather have people, like, I've never been down for the AI swaps, because not only is AI finicky at best, like, I just watched this joke video earlier where they were asking it a question and it was just giving completely random answers. Like, how can I help you? They asked the question. Thank you for your input. How can I help you? Like, and I mean, we all know the pain of having to deal with telephone tree automatic, like, operators and stuff, where you're literally on the phone like, 2! I said 2! Like, not, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't get that. How did you not get that? I'm literally yelling at you right now. Whenever I'm on a phone call and I have the option to press 0 for operator, I'm just sitting there pressing 0 until I hear that voice, because I cannot stand the technological replacement of actual people, because they have their, like, canned responses, but not every question falls under those categories. And I can't even imagine how stressful it would be to be on a 911 call with a robot and you're like, my friend's bleeding out, I need help. I heard you say a bird. Are you having an issue with an animal inside your house? Like, my friend is dying. Would you like me to contact authorities? Why do you think I'm doing this right now? So I can't even imagine how stressful that would be if you're in an actual emergency situation and you're trying to deal with a robot, trying to understand you when they're already not very good at understanding us when we're calm. And then you add the frantic, panicking, screaming, you can't think straight, trying to reason with a robot that has, like, oh, no. We need real people. That is one area that we cannot export to technology. And not to mention people will understand the severity of the situation, where a robot is just kind of going to go based So she was pretending to be on a phone call with somebody else, but still hinting at the information that she needed to get out there, to make it so it wasn't obvious that she was calling for help. And the dispatcher did eventually pick up on it. She eventually was like, ma'am, this isn't this is 911, like this isn't what you're asking for. And then the woman said it again, and the dispatcher was like, are you in danger? And then that's when she was able to say, like, yes. And it got through to her. A robot would not pick up on that. It would just be like, we're sorry, we cannot connect your call, hang up. Like, it would be just as bad as that lady that we were talking about. It would just like, oh, sorry, I didn't understand you, hang up. And then also like translation issues too. If you speak in another language, like you're really going to have to go through a phone tree to press whatever for Spanish or Portuguese or whatever language that you speak, and then the robot's not going to understand you because it's not programmed for the language that you're using. Whereas like dispatchers, they have access to like translation technology and can like estimate the language that you're speaking and stuff like that. So yeah, I am definitely not for not for robots over the operating systems and stuff behind 911. Like, I would much rather have a person that understands and can actually like talk to you and calm you down and like emotionally support you through that situation, like talk you through it. I mean, we've all seen AI trying to talk people out of suicide, but giving them advice on how to tie a rope or like all this crazy stuff. I saw another, which was the woman she was just testing it, but she was saying like, oh, I want to kill myself and whatnot. And the robot literally said to her, oh, I'm sorry, how can I help with that? Like, yeah, we need actual people behind the scenes in these situations. Also, I went back just to see what her job history was, because it was egregious to me. So she was in college for a single semester and just stopped showing up, dropped out, because she didn't like it. She then worked at Forever 21 for 3 months and quit because her manager had an attitude. She was at Ulta Beauty for 4 months and quit because she was tired of standing. And then she was at a call center for 6 weeks and quit because she just didn't feel like it. She walked out mid-shift because the customer raised her voice. And that's why she left.
That's why resumes are important. I couldn't have read hers. Ain't no way y'all scanned it. And I'm gonna close out with this. These are my last thoughts on it because I said it the other day. $173. What's up? Given her track record, there's no way in the world she would have gotten hired. None. Just looking at that rap sheet right there, no. And then on top of that, you just took on one of the most important jobs that you could have. Or do y'all not see it that serious? Because based on that, nah, there's no way in the world. Absolutely not. I would have been done completely. And I hope this is a lesson to the rest of those dispatchers. I hope and pray that this doesn't backfire in our face and that what they're trying to utilize is for good and they don't turn it into something evil like they do everything else they put their hands on. She don't need to be working. She don't need to be doing customer service. She don't need to talk to people. She needs something that's like Matter of fact, I don't know. I don't know. She don't need to be working with people. She seemed like she would be more comfortable doing TikTok reels and little mukbangs and stuff like that. She doesn't really have a tolerance for human interactions.
She'd quit because of negative comments.
You didn't say that. Tell me you did not just say that.
I'm done. I'm done with her. What's y'all thoughts? How y'all feel about it? They putting out, or they getting ready to start using this thing where if you have an emergency, all you gotta do is hit a button. It pop up in your language. You can reach out to the police department. They can get to you sooner. It sounds like it's a great way to integrate the community and potentially save some lives and help some people out. I'll keep my reservations for it until I actually see it in use. You got anything that you want to say to the people before we close out? Shout outs to everybody who pulled up this evening.
Yeah, just to end, I just wanted to kind of come back to the 911 etiquette, just for people to know. A lot of us, hopefully, thankfully, have not had the need to call 911 before, but just in case, I thought I'd read off some of the things to make it easier for you. First of all, I have to say, don't call 911 as a prank. It's not funny, and in many states it's illegal. So don't do that. Don't be that person. There are hurt and in danger individuals that need help, and you would be wasting the dispatcher's time by doing that. So please do not do that. Teach your kids not to do that. It's not funny. So if you are calling 911 for an emergency, as I said, one of the first things you should do is tell them your address, especially if you yourself are alone and are having a medical emergency or some sort of other incident. Make sure you give them that address, because that's one of the most important pieces of information that they need. And then while you're on the phone call, listen to all the questions that they're asking you and answer them to the best of your ability. Make sure you give them as much detail as you can to help them understand how they can help you. It's really important to stay calm while you are on that phone call. That way they can understand what you're saying. You have to come off as intelligible. That way they can understand what exactly you need and who to send, because they have to decide, do you need ambulance, do you need fire, do you need police? So you need to be able to convey that to them so that it can quickly happen for you. Additionally, you'll want to make sure that you're at your home, your address is prominent and available, obvious for people to see. Also will help with packages and stuff like that. But if you're not if you're not at your house, give landmarks, say addresses that you're near, buildings that you're near, notable locations that you're near, which will help them figure out where exactly you are. If you're like at a park or something, tell them exactly what you're next to. Like, oh, I'm next to the playground, I'm next to the I don't know, big tree or something. Like, give something very specific, because I've also heard stories of people like calling 911 and they're like roaming this whole area because they know they're about in that location but don't know exactly where. So give your location as specific as you possibly can, because that again is one of the most important pieces of information on top of what exactly is happening. Make sure your children know how to call 911. They should know how to dial 911, how to talk to a 911 operator. They should know their name, your name, telephone number, and their address. And in all cases, stay on the phone until they hang up. They will tell you when it's time to hang up, but do not hang up on them, because that can cause problems for you. That can cause problems for them, because sometimes if you disconnect early, they might not have all the information. They might not have the right type of stuff that they need to know to help you. If for some reason you accidentally call 911 by mistake, also teach this to your kids. Hold on, Denali. If you call by mistake, again, don't hang up the phone. Just say, hey, I'm sorry. I made a mistake. I didn't mean to call. I butt dialed or whatever. That way they know. Because if you hang up after a mistake, they'll try and send people to your location because they might think you're having a medical emergency or whatever. So in summary, when you call 911, give them your information, give them your address as specifically as possible. Tell them where you're at. Even in the house, like tell them what room you're in, how to get in, stuff like that. Give them the details of whatever emergency you're experiencing. And do not hang up until they say that it's time to hang up, because usually they'll have you on the phone until the police, fire, or ambulance are on the scene. And once they're on the scene, then they're like, okay, I'm going to let you go. And then again, if you call by mistake, stay on the phone, let them know. They're going to be like, they're not going to get mad at you. It's much better to tell them that you made a mistake and have them hang up than to freak them out and have police show up at your location because you're embarrassed. And then again, let your kids have this information as early as possible, because you never know when you're going to need to know this information. I hope this information was helpful. And again, I hope you never need to call 911, because that usually it means something not so fun is happening.
With that being said, you guys have a blessed evening. Drive safe. And see you guys tomorrow. Oh, do me a solid before you go.
What's the goddamn button?
Peace.
Bye, guys.
Examining his own attitude towards the possibilities of peace, towards the Soviet Union, towards the course of the Cold War.
Art muscle. It was a way of making me feel that they were a part of me.
You see it on the bridge. Wait, I think if the government had to change the screw in the bridge, they have to shut it down. They got state troopers out there. They got planes closed. They got those strange machines. How did they get up